Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we have to discuss Dying Light 2 on next-gen consoles. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with this. So the first thing I want to talk about is parity. Parity between PlayStation 5 and Series X. This has been going on now for a while. In a lot of games, not all games do this, not all developers do this, but select ones will force parity with the weaker console. I mean, that's just, I mean, I don't know if PlayStation pays for this or if if their market pull is the reason for this or not. Like, I'm not going to say anything like that nefarious is happening, but we can thank Digital Foundry for showing us this, because we all clearly know that the Xbox Series X is a more powerful console. Like, I mean, it's not disputable. Like, nobody in the industry disputes that the Xbox Series X is a more powerful console. Why are we stuck with PlayStation 5 levels on the Xbox Series X? I mean, is that not safe to, I mean, is that not fair to ask? I mean, these developers expect us to pay the exact same amount of money for this game as the PlayStation 5 guys are getting. I obviously that doesn't matter, because I mean, like, obviously the PlayStation 5 version is the PlayStation 5 version at $60. So if you buy the Xbox version, why don't these developers put that extra time and effort into making every version better? And I mean, not only that, dude, if you got a Series S, you don't even get 60 frames a second. You get 30 frames a second. It's like they did not even care. And the reason I bring this up is because in all the video I've seen from this Dying Light 2, have you seen anything that looks a lot better than what you got in Far Cry 6? Far Cry 6 runs at 4K 60 frames a second on Xbox Series X. Runs at 1800p on PlayStation 5. And it runs at 1440p 60 on freaking Series S. So that's what I'm saying. Like, these first-person shooter games, you cannot play these at 30 frames a second. That's just unacceptable. Literally unacceptable. I mean, the performance of this game is akin to what you were getting on last-gen hardware. It is. I mean, last-gen hardware, you're probably getting what? Like 30 frames a second at 4K on the Xbox One X. PlayStation 4, you're getting checkerboard 4K at 30 frames a second. So I don't understand why we are taking such a dramatic hit on Dying Light 2 on these next-gen consoles. And the only thing that I can think of is they are being enforced parity with the PlayStation 5. And so we seriously need to have this discussion about parity. We do. As a community, as gamers, we need to understand exactly and hold these developers a little bit more accountable when we ask them, like, hey man, like, what's going on? Do you not care about your Xbox base as much as you care about your PlayStation base? Because that's kind of the way we feel when we buy our games on the Xbox. We feel like you could care less if our console has more power. We feel like you could care less if our version is the best it can be. Like, the PlayStation, clearly they get the best it can be version on their PlayStation 5. Why don't we get that on our Xbox? It's not our fault that PlayStation 5 slacked off on the power, is it? It's not our fault that PlayStation brought a weaker console to the market. No, Xbox brought us a more powerful console, and we want our console to we want our games to take advantage of that power. That's the whole reason we spent that money on an Xbox, because it came advertised as having more power. So we want that power utilized. 1080p 60 frames a second for a game this generation is just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Like, right out of the gate, unacceptable. I'll tell you that right now. When you go out and you spend $1,600 on a TV to hook up to your next-gen console that requires a 2.1 HDMI port, we want the very best we can get. And I'll tell you what, I don't care. Like, 1080p does not look good on a 4K TV, especially in video games. They look blurrier, they look ugly, they look softer, they don't hold up that great. The clarity is completely terrible. Like, Yeah, 4K kind of matters for first-person shooter games because you want that clarity. You want to be able to see what's going on in the distance. You want to be able to accurately be able to see things. And, like, come on, man. Like, seriously. Is this what we're supposed to accept going forward? I mean, we're just console players. We're never going to know the difference. Well, sorry, until PlayStation Foundry came out and started showing everybody that, yeah, man, obviously you're not getting the best. You're not getting what you pay for. You're getting what PlayStation players pay for. That really sucks too. That really sucks that you developers hold back these games on specific hardware, to appease the PlayStation guys, man. Like, you guys are part of the problem as to why gamers are getting more and more demanding and angry these days. Like, simply all we want is what we pay for. If we pay for a more powerful console, we want you to utilize that power. That's what we want. Like, you have no problem utilizing the PC power, the PC platform. You guys expand those games from barely able to run it cards all the way up to the most powerful cards. There's something always in between that will give you a better bang for your buck, whether that's FPS or higher resolution or higher settings or something. Those games are more optimized. You get everything in one package for one price, for the same price, and sometimes even cheaper than what we would have to pay on the console. Why do we not get what we pay for per console specifically? I don't get it. The PC range is far more freaking dramatic than set hardware. Like, seriously, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys can figure this out. It's just you don't. That's why it literally makes me feel like you spend all your time focusing on the PlayStation 5 version, and then you just scale back until it fits the other consoles. You're telling me that the Xbox Series S with a more powerful CPU can't run that game at 60 frames a second? Than the PlayStation 5? Really? Now, this video is for all my Xbox friends, all the Xbox guys that are like, hey man, we want you to actually start optimizing for our console. And we're going to start going more in depth with these types of videos. Every time one of these developers takes the easy route out, we're going to call them out on it. We're going to post these videos on YouTube. And we're going to hope they get a lot of traction so that you'll start taking us seriously. Because as it sits right now, my channel might be small, but it grows and it grows and it grows every day. And we're coming. We're done with this parity crap. Like, we really are. We bought the Xbox because it had more power. We like to play our games in the Xbox ecosystem. We do not want to be tied to whatever PlayStation brings out because they have a weaker console. As you can see, I have a PlayStation 2. I love my PlayStation. I love my PlayStation first-party games. But they cannot deliver me a powerful enough system to where I still play my third-party games on there. The Xbox does that. The Xbox has given me a far better experience when it comes to having games run better on my 4K TV. We're done with this. We're seriously done with this parity stuff. Like, it's got to stop. If PlayStation's paying for that, that's just another shame on PlayStation. First they sell us weak hardware, then they go out of their way to pay for third-party exclusive deals to keep those games off of PlayStation and put them on their weaker hardware. And now they're using their power in the industry to make developers dumb down their game on the other console just so that it doesn't look better on theirs. They made that weaker console. They should be punished for that. They should be punished for lying to their customers and putting 8K on that PlayStation box. They should have to deal with the total fallout of that. They shouldn't get a pass from developers that are trying to sell me a product that I'm going to review on my channel and tell other people what I think. Like I said, I'm a small channel right now, but who knows, man, in a few years, my channel might be bigger. And then maybe you'll have to start taking people like me serious. Instead of all these other guys that are out there just being mouthpieces for Sony. Like, I'm not going to do that on this channel. I'm going to tell the people that follow me the exact truth and how I feel. And I do. I feel like I'm sick and tired of being lied to. I'm sick and tired of being freaking strung down a thing. When I turn on my Xbox and I go into the store, that game says it's 4K, 60 frames a second. It doesn't say it's 1080p at 60 frames a second. It says 4K, 60 frames a second. So I already feel lied to from what you guys put in there. This is ridiculous. There needs to be something done about these kind of developers out there. Like, maybe we shouldn't support them. Maybe we should cancel our pre-orders on the Xbox and be like, hey man, you didn't want to use our console, you didn't want to use the power of it, so yeah, dude, just give us a refund. We'll take our money elsewhere, to Elden Ring or somewhere else that's going to give us a better experience, more in line with the power of the hardware that we have. Like, it has nothing to do with the PlayStation 5. The power of the console hardware that we have, we should be able to utilize that going forward with our games. The PC crowd, if they bought a weak PC, then they get what they pay for. If they bought a more powerful PC, they get what they pay for. Why are we stuck in the middle? Why is our console hardware not being utilized on these games that we want to enjoy? That's basically it. If you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe, so that when I do these messages or when I make these videos, they have more pull. I'll do a lot of other content as well. There's always something for somebody. I do live streams and I talk to people. I hang out with you guys, and this community, I want this to grow because we're real gamers with real freaking things. We want to be wowed when we see our video games. We want to have fun. We want them to not feel like we're trying to play in the mud. Like, we're past that. PlayStation wants to stay with their 30 frames a second. Cool. Xbox is trying to move past that. I think we should all try to make that happen. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And like I just said, we definitely want to grow so that we have more, so we have a bigger voice in this community. And definitely would appreciate you along for the ride. And yeah, it's nice and fun. So I'll see you in the next one. You guys have a good night.